Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. Recently, over the past 3 months or so, Warner Brothers Discovery has been putting a lot of resources into Adult Swim, which is great. It's something that's great to see when a company is actually putting in resources into one of their brands to make it grow and become bigger than it already is. And obviously, Adult Swim is a brand that is deserving of this. It's a brand that deserves to grow and deserves to reach more audiences and show us some more great content. But where I have an issue with all of this is when we have things happening, as I've discussed recently in other videos, where Adult Swim is kind of taking over Cartoon Network. And something that I noticed even before this started happening is Warner Brothers Discovery seems to be putting in more resources into Adult Swim than they are for Cartoon Network, which is just very curious to me. It's really a situation that I've been keeping an eye on for a while now, just kind of wondering what's going on behind the scenes. Why is Cartoon Network kind of being thrown to the side, with Adult Swim kind of just taking over in a way and getting all the resources that were originally meant for Cartoon Network? So what do I mean by all this? Well, I first started paying attention to this situation when we got the announcement that Unicorn Warriors Eternal was going to move from Cartoon Network to Adult Swim. And I was like, that's kind of interesting, because this show was supposed to be a part of Acme Night. It was supposed to be, this big thing for Cartoon Network, the next big show for them. And all of a sudden now it's being moved to Adult Swim. And then all of a sudden, shortly thereafter that, we get the announcement that My Adventures with Superman is doing the same thing. It is moving from Cartoon Network to Adult Swim, and that was the second instance where I was like, they're taking resources that were meant for Cartoon Network and they're moving them to Adult Swim for some reason. Then all of a sudden we get the announcement that Adult Swim is starting at 7 p.m. as opposed to 8 p.m. Now Cartoon Network's losing another hour of airtime. That's not a good sign. Now, a few weeks ago, I made a video, and I'll leave a card above to it if you haven't seen it. This fall, Cartoon Network is going to be signing off at 6 p.m. to Adult Swim. So now Adult Swim is going to be airing for 12 hours on Cartoon Network, with Cartoon Network being relegated to a 10.5-hour block on its own channel because there's an hour and a half where Cartoonito is playing. So with all of this happening over the span of, I want to say, like a month to 2 months, what is going on? Why is it that Warner Brothers Discovery seemingly is prioritizing Adult Swim over Cartoon Network? It's really a strange situation to me, because Adult Swim is a spin-off of Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network is what came first. Adult Swim didn't come out until well after Cartoon Network premiered. So why is it, Warner Brothers Discovery, that seemingly you guys are kind of just throwing Cartoon Network to the side, just relegating it to just nothing? You're not really airing many shows on the channel. I'm honestly kind of curious at this point. I know that the Total Drama Island revival seemingly is supposed to come out this year, and it looks like will be coming out probably in the not too distant future. I'm genuinely curious if that then becomes an Adult Swim series, because where do we draw the line here? Where do we draw the line of what is an Adult Swim series versus what is a Cartoon Network series? Because in my opinion, watching the first 5 episodes of Unicorn Warriors Eternal, there is no reason whatsoever this show couldn't be on Cartoon Network. It has something for people my age, it has something for kids, it has something for their parents and maybe even their grandparents. It's something for people of all ages to watch, which back in the day, that was what Cartoon Network was. It was a cartoon channel that, yes, was being targeted towards kids ages 6 to 11, but the shows that it was premiering on the channel could be enjoyed by a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, or maybe even an 80-year-old. It doesn't matter what your age is. The shows that were on Cartoon Network could be enjoyed by you. It could be enjoyed by anybody, because yes, they had their surface level things that were meant for kids, but a lot of these shows had some deeper undertones to them, some things that went over kids' heads that were meant for older audiences to enjoy. And in a way, I feel like Unicorn Warriors Eternal falls into that category, and I think the same thing's going to happen once My Adventures with Superman comes out. I think that's a show that will also fall into that category. What's the point of just premiering anything on Cartoon Network if that's what we're going to do? We're just going to arbitrarily choose shows to premiere on Adult Swim. Like, yes, I think that it's good that Warner Brothers Discovery is finally embracing their older demographic, the older audiences that watches Cartoon Network, by premiering these more mature and more serious shows. At the same time, I don't think we should be killing picking the brand of Cartoon Network to do that. There is no reason whatsoever why these shows can't be on Cartoon Network. Yes, by airing them on Adult Swim, do they get more creative freedom? Absolutely. But I don't think that every show that's going to premiere then has to move to Cartoon Network, because look, we had another case of this. I know it's not moving to Adult Swim, but Batman Caped Crusader moved from Cartoon Network to Amazon Prime Video. So it's like you're putting all of these resources in the animation space into Adult Swim and into selling off these other properties and shows to other media outlets, other, streaming service providers. But what about Cartoon Network? What's going to happen to that brand? What is going to happen to that channel? Because right now it's like, what is coming to the channel? We have Total Drama Island. If that doesn't get moved to Adult Swim, because who knows at this point? I'm being serious. Like, that could be a series that premieres on Adult Swim, because if you guys remember, the old Total Dramas, they did borderline on young adult programming. They did have elements that were meant for a younger audience, but at the same time, there was stuff in there that were meant for older fans of the series. There weren't things in there that kids exactly picked up on and was meant for an older audience to enjoy. So does that mean the Total Drama Island revival is not meant for Cartoon Network anymore? I just seriously am curious, like, where do they draw the line here? And when does Warner Brothers Discovery actually start putting resources into Cartoon Network? Because they don't have a lot of shows right now. What do we have right now that's premiering new episodes on a semi-consistent basis? Craig of the Creek, Teen Titans Go, We Baby Bears, I believe that's it. I can't think of any other series off the top of my head that are premiering new episodes on Cartoon Network. So we look at Adult Swim at the same time, and it's getting 2 new shows this year when Cartoon Network hasn't even gotten 1. Again, why are we putting more resources into Adult Swim than we are Cartoon Network? Do we want the brand of Cartoon Network to die? I don't know. I seriously do wonder. And, this is a topic for another video another day. But where does Boomerang fit into all of this? Like, Boomerang was a thing back in the mid-2000s, early 2000s that aired classic series. The slogan was, "It's all coming back to you," because that's what a boomerang does. A boomerang, you throw it and it comes back to you. So all the classics from yesterday were coming back to you today. And where does that fit into this picture? Where does that fit into all this? And again, that's the topic for another day. But for right now, I want to just focus on what is the future of Cartoon Network? What are you guys going to bring to the channel that's going to get people excited for the network again? Because if we're being honest, Cartoon Network is a shell of its former self, and I would argue that most people don't care about it anymore, which is a shame, because it was the place to go to watch animated content for well over a decade, for a decade and a half even, and now it's nothing. It's not anything close to what it used to be, and part of that now is because all the promising things that were coming are being moved to Adult Swim. So I'll ask the question one more time. Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, all the people working over there, the higher-ups, the executives, why are you putting more resources into Adult Swim than you are Cartoon Network? Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all of this. Why do you guys think that all of a sudden Warner Brothers Discovery seems to be throwing Cartoon Network to the side and prioritizing Adult Swim? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from DC Network. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.